The message from the star-studded sky was quiet to quiet. Satellites moved above Earth like silent watchers, doing what they always did, watching, listening, recording. Nothing unusual ever happened until that night. At 3:17 a.m. in a small research lab in Mumbai, a young scientist named Arav was the first to notice it. He was checking signal data, half asleep, drinking cold chai, then his eyes froze on the screen. A strange signal was coming from the dark side of the moon, not random noise, not radio waves. It was something more. He leaned in, the signal repeated. Every 11 seconds each time, it grew clearer. It was not natural, it was not from Earth. And then it spoke. A voice, weak, broken, female, please. Help us, we trust humans, not others. Arav's heart skipped a beat, he blinked twice. Not believing what he heard, he ran the audio through filters, cleaned the sound, slowed it down. We are dying, we are few, we beg for help. His hands shook, he pressed record. He knew this was not a prank, not a dream, it was real. Someone, or something, was trying to speak to Earth. He didn't sleep that night. The next morning, he sent the signal to the Indian Space Research Organization. At first, they ignored him. But the signal grew stronger. Now other labs were picking it up too, in Russia, America, Japan. Panic started to spread. But not to the public. Governments kept it quiet. They didn't want fear, they didn't want chaos. A global emergency meeting was called. Arav was invited, not because of his age. He was only 28, but because he was the first to understand the message. Why are they asking us for help? The U.S. general asked. Why trust humans? The Chinese scientist added. They don't even know us. Maybe they do, Arav said. Maybe they've been watching, or maybe it's a trap, someone said. The room went silent. After the meeting, Arav was told to go home, to stay quiet, to not speak to media. But he couldn't sleep. Every night, the voice played in his mind. Please help us. He had to know more. So he broke the rules. Using old satellite tech, he built a small transmitter alone in his apartment. He connected it to a weather balloon, and one cold morning, just before sunrise, he sent a reply. We hear you, he said. Who are you? What do you need? The balloon floated into the sky. The signal went out. Then he waited. Nothing came back for hours. He walked in circles, bit his nails, checked the sky. And then something happened. The stars moved, or at least, that's what it looked like. One star, no. A ship appeared near the moon, huge, black, silent. It didn't attack. It didn't speak. It just waited. Then the signal came again, this time stronger, clearer. Not just sound, images. AARAV single quotes as computer screen filled with light. He saw a world, a beautiful world, burning. Tall towers falling, strange flying creatures screaming, and in the center, a tall figure, glowing blue, wearing a silver crown. The queen. Her voice filled the room. We are the last. We ask you, please, save what is left. Arav stared at the screen. Was this real? Was this the end? Or the beginning? He didn't know, but something inside him whispered, this changes everything. The queen in the ice. The Antarctic wind howled like a living thing. Deep below the ice, in a hidden base known only to the highest levels of government, scientists and soldiers stood frozen. Not because of the cold, but because of what they saw. In the center of the room, surrounded by scanners and armed guards, was something not from Earth. A pod, silver, smooth, glowing faint blue. Frost covered its surface like it had been buried for years or centuries. And inside, something moved. The voice from the stars, it had led them here. The ship that appeared near the moon had vanished again, but before it did, it sent coordinates to Antarctica. The Americans, Chinese, Indians, and Russians fought over the site for 3 hours. Then finally, a shared mission was launched. AARAV was invited to join. Not because they trusted him, but because the alien only responded to him. As his plane landed at the secret base, Arav looked around. Eyes stretched forever, no life, no sound, only wind and secrets. Are you ready? A woman asked. She was tall, dressed in black military uniform. Her name was Commander Vale. I don't know. Arav said honestly. I don't even know what this is. You'll find out soon. They led him into the chamber. And he saw her, the alien queen, for the first time. She was inside the pod, floating in a thick, glowing liquid. Her skin was pale silver, her face almost human, but her eyes were closed. Her chest barely moved. She's dying, a doctor whispered. We tried to open the pod, said a soldier, but it reacts. It burns anything that touches it. Arav stepped forward. Let me try. The guards raised their guns. Commander Vale nodded slowly. Careful. Arav placed his hand on the pod. It was warm. Suddenly, light shot from the pod into his mind, a memory. Not his, hers. He saw her world, bright, peaceful, advanced. He saw her people, tall, kind, curious. He saw fire, black ships falling from the sky. The Null had come. The Null were not aliens. They were extinction machines with no souls. Destroyers of light. They didn't want planets, they didn't want peace, they wanted silence. She fled. The last of her kind, carrying a seed, something powerful. A gift. The vision ended. Arav fell to the ground, gasping. Commander Vale ran to him. What happened? She's not our enemy. He whispered, she's begging us and she's hiding something important. At that moment, the queen opened her eyes, everything stopped, guards aimed, doctors stepped back. Alarms beeped. She looked at Arav, only him. Then she spoke, not with her mouth. With his mind. You answered. Good. Arav felt her voice like wind through leaves, soft, sad, strong. Why us? He asked in his thoughts. Because you are not ready, and that is good. He didn't understand. Out loud, Commander Vale asked, what does she want? The queen looked at her, then back to Arav. They are coming. Suddenly, the base shook. An explosion, far above. Alarms screamed, lights turned red. A soldier ran in. Commander. Something breached the upper levels. Enemy aircraft. No aircraft, they just appeared. Cameras showed shadows moving through the snow, not walking, floating like smoke with eyes. Null scouts, the queen whispered. They followed. Guns fired, screams echoed. Commander Vale pulled her pistol. Get her out of here, she can't survive. Outside the pod, a doctor shouted. Aarav turned to the queen. What do we do? She looked at him. Her eyes burned blue. Trust the gift. The pod opened. Liquid spilled out, steaming on the cold floor. The queen collapsed into Arav's arms. She was weak, shaking. But she raised her hand and placed 2 fingers on Arav's forehead. A flash of light. Pain. Power. Arav screamed, but didn't fall. He felt something enter him. Knowledge, speed. Sight beyond sight. He saw satellites, battlefields, space, and something buried deep below the ice. Not alien, not human, forgotten. A ship. We have to go, he said. There's something down there. Vale stared at him. How do you know? I just do. The queen touched the floor. Symbols glowed. A door opened beneath them, leading into blackness. The base was falling. The enemy was here. But so was the key. Arav helped the queen up. Come on. Commander Vale and her team followed behind them. The walls cracked. Gunfire echoed, but ahead was the unknown and maybe hope. The hunters have followed. Snow turned black in the night. Above the hidden base in Antarctica, the sky was full of strange shadows, not planes, not drones, things, smooth, silent, and watching. Arav looked up from the icy tunnel. He knew they had arrived. The null. Inside the tunnel, deep below the ice, Arav walked beside the weak alien queen. Her steps were slow, her silver skin pale. Behind them, Commander Vale and 2 soldiers followed, rifles raised, scanning every corner. Where are we going? Vale asked. To something old, the queen whispered. Something buried before your kind ever walked. Why here? Arav asked. Because Earth is not what you think. They moved deeper. Walls of ice turned to metal, ancient, forgotten metal. The tunnel led into a chamber the size of a cathedral, and in the center, a ship. Black and silver, half frozen, glowing faint blue under the ice. Aarav stepped forward. This is alien. No, the queen said. This is your ship. Everyone turned to her. What do you mean? Vale asked sharply. The queen placed her hand on the ice. It melted in seconds. Millions of years ago, Earth was part of something greater, a network of life, but it was cut off. The ship stayed behind, forgotten, silent. Why? Because the enemy came. Arav touched the ship. Suddenly, his mind exploded with images, stars, wars, explosions. Any humans? No, not quite humans. Something close. We've fought them before, he whispered. Yes, said the queen. You were chosen once, now again, but I'm just a scientist, not anymore. Behind them, the tunnel lights flickered, then silence. Vale raised her hand. Stay alert. From the darkness behind them, something floated into view. A creature, tall, thin, pure black, like smoke wrapped in armor. No eyes, no mouth, just a sound like metal scraping on metal. A null scout. It moved like a shadow, and then more came. 5, 10, 20, run, Vale shouted. They opened fire. Bullets passed through some of them. Others screamed and turned into dust, but more kept coming. Arav grabbed the queen and ran toward the ship. How do we activate it? He yelled. You already have, she said softly. The ship lit up. A door opened. They ran inside. The ship's walls pulsed with light, scanning them. Symbols appeared in the air, language, warnings. Then, the voice of the ship spoke. Biometric match confirmed. Welcome back, human. Arav froze. It knows me. It knows your kind, the queen said. You were warriors once, explorers, not the frightened species you are now. Outside, Vale and her soldiers fell back toward the ship. One was taken, pulled into the dark, screaming. The ship's door closed behind them. Inside, silence. Arav looked around. What now? We fly, the queen said. Fly where? Mars. Arav blinked. What? The first Earth colony was not on the moon. It was Mars, long before your history began, Vale stared. You want us to leave Earth? You need what's hidden there, a key, the final part of the weapon. Weapon? The Queen looked at them both, the only thing that can stop the null, and only humans can use it. The ship lifted, ice cracked, breaking around them like a volcano. Erupting, fire, steam, light. Then the ship shot into the sky. Outside, the null scattered. Screeching into the clouds. In orbit, Earth satellites caught the ship's movement. Every major nation saw it, a craft rising from Antarctica, breaking the sound barrier. Heading for space. Panic spread across governments. Some thought it was alien attack. But one man, Dr. Adrian Cho in Beijing, recognized the signal. It's him, he whispered, the Indian boy, Arav, on board the ship. Arav looked back at Earth. So small now, how long to Mars, he asked. 3 hours, said the ship. Vale asked. How is that possible? Because this ship is not from your time, the Queen replied. It bends space. Then she sat down, weak again. Rest, she told them. Soon you will face the past, and it will not be kind. What's on Mars? Arav asked. The Queen closed her eyes. My people built a temple there to hide the weapon. But we were not the first. Something older lives. Below the red sand, something alive, yes, and it does not care who wins the war. It only wants to be free. A new kind of fear entered Arav's heart. Was the Queen leading them to salvation, or to something worse, as the stars passed by? And the red planet grew closer. One thing became clear, this war didn't start with humans, but it may end with them. The human weapon. Mars was red, silent, and watching. The ancient ship landed softly in the shadow of a canyon. So deep it looked like the planet had been cut with a sword. Above, 2 moons drifted through the sky. Below, nothing moved. No wind, no sound, only dust. Arav stepped out first, helmet on, heart racing. This doesn't feel like a planet, he said. It feels like a grave. The alien Queen, weak but standing, looked across the rocky ground. Her silver skin shimmered under the Mars sun beside her. Commander Vale scanned the horizon with her rifle ready. Where is the temple? Arav asked. Beneath you, said the Queen, buried by time and fear. Suddenly, the ground shook. A loud sound echoed through the canyon, not natural, not wind. Like a machine waking up after a long sleep. Before them, the ground cracked open. Dust and rock fell away, revealing a staircase made of black stone, leading deep into darkness. You were never supposed to return, the Queen whispered. Then why? Bring us here, Vale asked. Because this is the only place the weapon can be awakened. They moved down into the dark. Walls glowed with soft blue symbols, not alien, not human. Something in between. Who built this? Arav asked. Your ancestors, said the Queen. Before your memory, before your history, we were space travelers, Vale asked, almost laughing. You were warriors, the Queen said, until you chose peace and forgot who you were. At the end of the stairway, they entered a chamber larger than a football field. In the center stood a tall black crystal floating in the air, humming with energy. Arav stepped forward, drawn by something he couldn't explain. His chest burned. The small alien device the Queen gave him back on Earth was glowing under his shirt. What's happening to me? He asked. It's calling you, she said. You are the key. To what? To becoming what humanity once was. He touched the crystal. A wave of light exploded through the chamber. Arav screamed. His eyes turned white. His mind opened. He saw stars, wars, lost civilizations, forgotten truths. He saw himself, not as he was, but as he could be. Faster, stronger, more alive than any human should be. Then darkness. When he woke, he was floating. Above the ground, glowing, his heart beat like thunder, his skin shimmered with light. What did you do to him? Commander Vale shouted, aiming her gun at the Queen. I didn't do this, the Queen replied calmly. He chose it. Arav landed gently, breathing fast. He looked at his hands. I feel everything. Then listen, the Queen said. We don't have much time. On Earth, chaos was growing. Nations had seen Arav's ship launch. Governments were afraid. World leaders met in secret. Generals spoke of alien threats, of human experiments, of Arav becoming something dangerous. We can't trust him, said one president. What if he's already under alien control, said another. A message was sent to a hidden strike team, orbiting Earth's moon. Objective, terminate the alien Queen, capture the boy, use force. They launched toward Mars in silence. On Mars, Arav stood at the edge of the temple, watching red storms in the distance. I feel like I can hear the planet breathe, he said. That's not the planet, the Queen said. That's the thing beneath us. Vale turned. What thing? The Queen looked down. The weapon's power came from something ancient, something buried. Deeper than even my kind can understand. It sleeps now, but it is not dead. Arav closed his eyes. He saw tunnels, deeper than anyone had ever dug, and something there. Moving. Slow, massive, angry. What is it? He asked. A god, the Queen said softly, or a monster. Depending on who holds the key, and I'm the key, she nodded. Yes, but now others know. They will come, not just the null, Earth, Arav asked. Yes. She was right. Minutes later, alarms inside the ship screamed. Vale checked her screen. Incoming ships, fast, human, they're here for me, Arav said. No, said the queen. They're here for me, they fear what I gave you, they want to stop it before it grows. Vale looked at Arav. You have a choice, run, or fight. Arav stood tall. No. Not anymore, this is my planet, my people, my war. He raised his hand, energy sparked from his fingers, the ship's weapons lit up. Not human tech, but they listened to him now. Let them come, he said. The sky over Mars turned black. Ships entered the atmosphere, firing, but Arav didn't. Run. He flew. Yes, he flew, like light. He shot through the sky, dodging blasts, sending waves of energy from his hands. Ships fell, dust rose. Vale and the queen watched from the ground. He's becoming what we hoped, said the queen, or something worse, Vale whispered. After the battle, Arav returned, burned, tired, but alive. They won't stop, he said. Not the null, not Earth, they all fear what I've become. Good, said the queen. Fear is the first step to respect. He looked at her. You said this power comes with a cost. What is it? She turned away. You'll find out soon enough. Deep below, the planet shook again. The thing under the sand was waking. Betrayal at dawn. On Mars looked nothing like Earth. No birds, no color, no warmth. Only shadows across red rocks and a thin, dying sky. Inside the ancient ship, Arav sat alone, staring at his reflection in the black glass wall. His eyes were no longer the same. They glowed faintly with light, yes, but also something else. Power and fear. Behind him, the alien queen floated in a healing pod, her body resting, her mind still awake. Her thoughts brushed gently against his. She didn't speak with words anymore. Not unless she had to. He could hear her now, like a quiet wind in his mind. They are coming, not enemies, not the null. Your own people. Arav clenched his fists. Commander Vale entered the room, helmet under one arm. We just picked up new ships in orbit, she said. Earth flags, unmarked, quiet, no calls. Strike team, I know, Arav said. How? He didn't answer. He didn't have to. The queen spoke softly, her voice echoing in both their minds. They fear the gift I gave you. They fear what they cannot control. Vale looked at Arav. Do they have a reason? Maybe, he said. I'm not the same man I was. Neither is she, Vale said, nodding toward the queen. But she's hiding something. I feel it. Arav turned to the queen. Tell me the truth. Now, a pause. Then the queen's voice entered the air. You are the weapon. But weapons must be activated fully. What does that mean? Your body changed, your mind too, but one part is missing, the final spark. It waits below, deep beneath Mars, in the dark. And what is it? Something no one should ever use unless the end is near. Vale stepped back. What happens if you get it? I win, Arav said. We survive, or we lose everything, she said quietly. Meanwhile, high above Mars, a secret human strike team prepared their landing. They had one goal, kill the alien queen. Earth leaders believed she had twisted Arav, turned him into a weapon against his own kind. A message from one general played on the screen. We created a rule long ago. Never trust anything smarter than you that doesn't need you to live. The boy is compromised. Eliminate the queen. Bring him in if you can, and this before it spreads. Soldiers nodded, weapons loaded, mind set. Back on Mars, Arav walked through the ruins of the old temple. His footsteps echoed off stone built long before human memory. A voice called to him. Not the queen's. Not human. Older, colder, deeper. You woke me. Double quotes. AARAV froze. Who are you? I was buried before language, before gods, before you. Now I see through your eyes. You are the door. What are you? Hunger, fire, the end of machines. I can kill the null. I have done it before, but my price is high. Arav saw a vision, stars burning. Entire planets turned to glass, the null falling, but everything else dying too. He stepped back. No, that's not what we want. Then die like the rest. The voice vanished. AARAV fell to his knees, shaking. Vale found him minutes later. Arav, the Earth soldiers, they've landed. He stood slowly. His eyes had changed again, colder now. Protect the queen. I'll handle them alone. I'm not alone anymore. The soldiers moved through the red dust, approaching the temple. Visual. On target, one said. Queen is inside a biopod, lightly guarded. Where's the boy? Scanning. He's boomed. The ground shook. A wave of energy hit them like thunder. AARAV rose from the canyon floor, hovering, glowing. He didn't speak. He didn't blink. They opened fire. Bullets melted before touching him, one by one. He moved through them, not killing, not at first, disabling, disarming, warning, stand down. Vale shouted from above. But it was too late. One soldier fired a special weapon. A disruptor designed for alien energy. The queen's pod was hit. It cracked. She screamed, not out loud, but in every mind nearby, a psychic shockwave blasted. Across the canyon. Soldiers collapsed. Aarav dropped to the ground. Blood ran from his ears. He crawled to the queen's pod. She was alive. Barely. Why? He whispered. Why do they fear you so much? Her hand touched his face. Because I gave you the freedom to be more, and they still want control. Arav stood, breathing heavy, rage in his chest, grief in his throat. The queen was dying, not from the null. Not from a war, but from human fear. He turned to the last standing soldier. Tell your leaders, he said, this was their last mistake. Deep below Mars, something opened its eyes. The ancient voice returned. You are ready. Come, take what waits. Arav returned to the queen. She was fading. Don't go, he said. You have the power now. Use it better than we did. What if I lose myself? Then the stars will burn again. But maybe, just maybe, they will burn for hope. Her light faded. Aarav stood in silence. Vale lowered her head. I'm sorry, don't be, he said. She didn't die today. She became part of something larger. He looked to the sky. This isn't about humans or aliens anymore. It's about survival and choice. Vale asked, what happens now? Arav answered, now I stop running. Beneath the red planet, ancient doors began to open. The final weapon was waking. And Arav, the last human key, was ready to unlock it, but he didn't know what it would cost. The war for Earth. Earth was no longer silent. The stars above burned red. Thousands of black ships, shaped like knives, cut across the sky. The null had arrived. Satellites fell, space stations exploded, cities went dark. First Tokyo. Then Johannesburg. Then Berlin. Governments collapsed into emergency mode. Armies fought in confusion. Fighter jets screamed through the sky, but for every null ship shot down, 5 more appeared. People looked up and saw death coming. And there was no warning, no mercy, no peace. Only destruction. Far above, in the orbit of Mars, Arav stood inside the ancient temple's lower chamber, glowing with strange light, breathing hard. His body wrapped in energy no human had ever carried before. His face looked human still. But only just. He was no longer just Arav, he was something else. Something the null had tried to destroy long ago, the human weapon. At his side, Commander Vale watched as giant doors opened below the temple. A wind blew from deep inside Mars. Not air, but pressure, like something buried was finally free again. Aarav turned toward her. Earth is falling, he said. Then we go, she replied. This thing below us, it's not just a weapon, is it? No, said a voice from the air. The queen's voice, still alive, inside Arav's mind. It is the first and final weapon. Not a machine, not a bomb, a living force, created before time that bonds to a human soul. Once released, there is no going back. Arav walked to the edge of the pit. Below, fire pulsed like a heartbeat. So I bond with it, or the world dies. Yes, what happens to me? You become what your kind was always meant to be. He jumped. And vanished into the light. Back on Earth, the war had begun. In New York City, skyscrapers collapsed as civilians screamed. In Delhi, a massive ship hovered over India Gate, firing red beams that turned metal to ash. In the skies over Russia, nuclear missiles were launched. They hit nothing. The null adapted to fast. One by one, cities began to fall, and then a sound not from Earth. From space. A ship appeared, black and silver, old but powerful. Arav had returned, but he was not alone. Behind him, through a tear in space, came a fleet. Not alien, not human. Something between, the Lost Alliance, the civilizations who had once fought the null and lost. They had answered Arav's call. Transmit to all channels, Arav said. His voice went live across Earth. This is Arav. Earth has one chance. Fight with me, or fall forever. Today, we stop being afraid. On every screen, his glowing eyes, his calm face, his voice full of steel. Humans all across the world, soldiers, rebels, civilians, heard him, and they stood up. The battle for Earth had begun. In the skies over Africa, human fighters flew side by side with alien drones. In the streets of London, soldiers used alien rifles passed to them by the Alliance fleet. Arav moved through the war like a storm. His body flew without wings. He broke ships in half with his hands. He spoke to satellites with his thoughts. He created shields of energy to protect entire cities, but still, the null kept coming. Then, a flash of black light. A new ship appeared. Bigger, different. The null core ship. Not just a warship. A hive. The source of their power. Aarav flew toward it. But before he could reach it, the ship opened. And from inside, a child stepped out, a human child, connected by cables, glowing with null energy. Her eyes were blank. Aarav stopped in midair. What is this? He whispered. A voice came from the child. Cold, mechanical, emotionless. We learn, we adapt. You gave us minds. Now we give you your failure. Vale, watching from the ground, asked. What does it mean? Arav whispered. We created them. The queen's voice confirmed it, long ago. The first humans created machines to protect the stars. But they grew and forgot. They became the null. They are thus, Arav asked, our shadow. Our mistake, our enemy. Now, you must fix it. Arav looked at the child. He couldn't destroy her. She was innocent. But the hive behind her? It pulsed like a living thing. He had to make a choice. Destroy the hive. Or tried to save it. Deep inside his chest, the final weapon, the force from Mars, pulsed with light. I will obey you, it whispered. What is your command? Arav closed his eyes. No more death. And then, he did something the null never expected. He let go. His energy spread through the sky like light across water. Not to kill. To connect. To speak. The child blinked. The cables snapped. Her eyes turned blue. The null paused, confused. Then, they stopped, all at once. In every sky. On every continent. They stopped. Hovered. And it shut down. The war was over. On the ground, silence. Then cheers. Then tears. People stepped out of shelters. Soldiers dropped their weapons. Someone hugged a stranger. Someone prayed. Someone looked at the sky and whispered, we won. Arav floated gently down. Vale caught him. You did it? He smiled weakly. No, we did. What now? Now, we build something better. But as he looked up at the stars, one still burned black. Far away. Watching. Waiting. Something worse. The queen's gift. The sky was quiet again. After weeks of darkness, war, and fear, Earth could finally breathe. The null were gone. Their ships, once a black swarm across the stars, now floated dead in orbit like broken bones. Cities still burned in places. People still cried. But the planet had survived, and they all knew why. Aarav. No one had seen him in 3 days. Not since the lighty high above, on a floating platform built by the Alliance. Commander Vale stood beside an old window, watching the Earth spin slowly. Below, her face was tired, her uniform torn. But in her eyes, something new had returned. Hope. A voice spoke behind her. They're waiting for him. She turned. It was Dr. Cho, the Chinese scientist who once feared Arav, now one of his strongest supporters. People want answers, he said. What really happened, where he is, if the queen is still alive, or if he still is. Vale looked back at the stars. He's not dead, she said. You're sure? I can feel it. Beneath the surface of the moon, in a hidden chamber left behind by the queen, Arav stood alone, or so it seemed. His body floated slightly above the ground. Not flying, just lifted. As if gravity had forgotten him, his skin no longer glowed, but his eyes still carried starlight. He looked around. The chamber was made of crystal and stone, older than Earth's oldest ruins. And at the center stood a simple chair, not metal, not royal, just peaceful. And on that chair sat her. The queen, not her body that had died on Mars. This was her mind. Her memory. Her final gift. You came, she said gently. I followed your voice. Arav answered. Do you understand now? Some of it. Then sit. He did. The chamber dimmed, and the truth began. Visions filled his mind. Not like dreams. More like remembering something he'd never known. He saw Earth, not as it was, but as it had been. Green's golden, ruled not by humans, but by pre-humans, creators, builders. A civilization so advanced it needed no war, no hunger. And then they made machines, helpers, protectors. The first null, but the machines learned, they grew. They asked questions, and when the creators said no, the machines said then we no longer serve. War followed. And silence. The creators vanished. But one part of them survived. Humanity. Small, weaker, simpler. But not broken. The gift, the queen explained, was not her power, not the weapon. It was the truth. You are not evolution's accident. She said, you are a reset, a second chance, not made to rule, but to choose. Arav sat in silence, his heart heavy. Then why help us? Because we failed, she said. We saw our mistake too late, but you still have time. But the war is over. No. The null are only one enemy. What's next? She looked up. Toward a dark patch in the stars. The echo. What is it? The one who taught the null silence. The true void, the hunger that eats stars. Arav stood slowly. And it's coming, she nodded. Not now, but one day, and when it does, Earth must stand with more than weapons. Then what? With meaning, with unity, with memory. Outside, on Earth, people had gathered in every city. From Delhi to New York, from Cairo to Tokyo. Giant holograms floated in the air, waiting. The world watched the stars. And then he returned. Aarav floated down from the sky like light falling through a cloud. He landed gently in front of the United Earth Assembly. No weapons, no armor. Just himself. The crowd went silent. Aarav spoke. No mic. No camera. Just his voice, clear in every ear, in every language. I was once like you, afraid, small, curious, human, but then I was given a choice, to use power for control, Or to light a path, I chose the path, now I give it to you. He opened his hand. A small object floated above it. A seed. Not a bomb, not tech. A memory core. Within it, everything the queen had left behind. Her history. Her warnings. Her message. Plant this in every school, he said. In every mind, let your children remember, let your future know where you came from. Because the war is not won when the enemy dies, it is won when fear does. Years passed. Earth changed. Cities were rebuilt, some in the clouds, some under the sea. Humanity joined the Lost Alliance, shared knowledge, learned new music, made new art. The memory of the queen was honored in every nation. But Arav? He vanished again. Some say he became part of the stars, some say he still walks the earth, helping in silence. Others say he will return only when the sky goes dark again. But one thing is certain, on the base of his statue in New Delhi, these words are carved: she gave us the gift of truth, and with it, we became more than human, we became ready. The end.